Back-to-back weekends in this hectic 2025 end to the season, and we make our way from a very amazing track in COTA to Mexico. One of the most unique tracks we have on the grid, with it sitting about 7,350 feet above sea level, the highest on our F1 calendar, which affects this race completely differently. It's got long straights. You would think low downforce is the best, but it's the complete opposite. And it's been around for a good minute. I will say it has one of the best atmospheres. That stadium section definitely elevates how much the fans impact this race. And with Checo back in 2026, I expect this to be yet again another one of those booming places where you can hear the fans roar when a driver drives by. But overall, it's given us some okay races, sometimes great, but most of the times pretty bad if you ask me. And that's because of the elevation. The track layout itself is not that bad. Maybe that stadium section could get a change because the cars go so slowly, very little opportunity for overtaking. But it's funny, as we've gone longer into the regulation cycle, the races have gotten better because in 22, Max was on those softs from then to now. And while it was impressive, it was a snoozer. Wow, that was one of those races that genuinely made me fall asleep. Now in 2023, that wasn't much to rave about as well, but Lando did end up making some places, made some overtakes, and it was a little more entertaining from that point. But 24 in recent years has definitely given us the best race, with Max getting an outstanding penalty of 20 seconds for trying to take out Lando in that corner, which we all thought was crazy at the time, but actually worked to his favor when you look at it in the long run. That was also Carlos Sainz's last race win in a Ferrari, in a dominant one that at it. That was definitely a race to remember. But now we're looking at 2025. With this championship battle being so tight, there's so many things to look out for. I think we're going to get a much better one. With that, we can look at our preview. Yet again, a tire offset with the C2, C4, C5. I fully expect that C2 to not be used. Look at what just happened in COTA, a track where tire degradation is at its highest. The cars went from a soft to a medium or a medium to a soft, which is just showing off how wrong the Pirelli tires are right now in F1, and I really hope this gets solved in 2026. It's not a great sight for us, but for the drivers as well. It's a very boring race with a very boring strategy. Now, as I stated earlier, in 2022, this was an easy one stop. I still expect that to be the same thing. And as you can see on our preview, we have a downforce of 5. Cooling is going to be one of the most important parts of this GP. Every team will bring a big set of those shark gills. And while they do increase drag on the car, optimizing that to have as little drag as possible while having a lot of the engine cover open is important. And just being able to make your car get to the end. I expect a lot of lift and coast, not just from the Ferrari car, but in general amongst the grid. Not going to be a lot of staying behind the other car because the engines are hot and that just makes the cars even worse. So it should be a very tactical race here in Mexico. Track evolution is huge as well. We do have a Formula E race at some point in the season that happened a while ago. So waiting till the last second is going to be important, just like in COTA. I don't think we're going to see a pile up like we saw last time where drivers don't finish a lap, but the possibility does stand with that stadium section. And for the headlines, we know what they're going to be. Max, can he continue the charge? Can Oscar Piastri come back from what has been a pretty miserable 3 or 4 weekends in a row? He's not been looking like himself. The pressure is getting to him definitely. It's a big weekend for him. And another big talking point is, will Yuki stay? Because Helmut has said a lot about the drivers being the issue, not the car. And this is the weekend they will make an evaluation on who will drive the Red Bull for 2026. I've seen a lot of mixed opinions. Some people want Yuki to stay, others don't. If you ask me, somebody needs to partner with Max that will give him a shot at winning the championship and could possibly help out. Yuki has just not been there, even with COTA being okay. Some people were saying it was a great race for him because he made up a lot of positions, but that's because he was starting far back and he dive bombed into turn 1, which is a possibility in COTA. I like Yuki, but I just don't know if he's the right fit for Red Bull. I would like to see Isaac there and hopefully actually show off that his driving style is super similar to that of Max and it can work out. 2026 is a reset. Maybe you keep Yuki. Love to hear your opinions down in the comments below. But make sure you guys make your way over to Unchained Media Inc., where I will be making my predictions. I got P3 from the US GP, so haven't been too bad. My best ranking so far on the podium. There's prizes to be won. It's not very many GPs in the Americas, so everybody's got a shot to win it. Make your way over there, Thank you all for the support. Let's get started with my predictions. Okay, off the dome, per usual, got P3, got quite the reputation to uphold for this next weekend. I feel like Mexico is a lot less predictable than that of COTA. I believed the Red Bull was going to be quickest there. It still seems like the McLaren in the race is just slightly faster, but with the amount of dirty air, you know how it is. Next gen driver was Ollie Behrman. I don't think it's going to be him. I have a feeling that the Haas car, whenever we go to Mexico, they open up those cooling louvers and they're just slow, horribly. So I'm not going to have Haas up there. Mercedes is tricky as well. They've struggled with cooling. Racing Bulls has been pretty okay. I can't see Gabriel getting it either. So for me, I'm just going to go safe here. Actually, no safe. Isaac Hadjar. He's going to have a comeback race. It was not great in the previous GP. He was very bad. One of his worst weekends, if you ask me. I don't think we get it often, which is a good thing with Isaac. I'm going to say much better weekend. I don't think he's going to be in the P5. We're probably going to have a pretty boring 5-1. Ferrari car looked much better. So with that being said, he's had a good track record around here. I'm going to put Lewis in P5. I believe we're going to start seeing him back in there. Thankfully, the car is better. We'll have to see how much LICO they have in this race. It should not be bad. If they were able to survive COTA with the amount of bumps, it's a very hot track. There definitely will be LICO, but I think across the whole grid. So maybe they'll be a little saved for Mexico. Gonna have them up in P5. Now it's pretty tricky because if we go off of Oscar Piastri's track record, he's been P8 and P8. In 2023, he had the car to fight for at least a top 5 position. In 2024, he had the race-winning car, potentially, if it wasn't with the whole Max and Lando situation. Lando had the race-winning pace. I could see Oscar out of the top 3 again, so I'm going to throw him in here. It feels risky. I could even see him lower, but I think he'll get ahead of Lewis for this GP. We're going to see Charles Leclerc back on the podium. That would be very nice. He deserves it. He's had an amazing season, very underrated, to say the least. So I'm going to put up Charles in the P3 position, add another podium hat to this race. And now I'm backing my boy Max Verstappen. Yeah, again, I believe he can win it again. So Lando's going to get P2. This is a good track for Lando. It's going to be tough. I think they're going to battle it out. I could see Max defending him for a lot of laps. Now, Lando's best racecraft race was here in 2023. There's a possibility, but I'm just going to say P2, Max Verstappen in P1. The championship fight continues, and if we go based off my predictions, it'll be a 13-point swing for Max, and Lando will then be what? Maybe like 8 to 7 points behind? Actually, 8 points if he's 14 now. It's going to be tight. Now looking at performance. Now, this was where I got some big points last week. I did very well here. I'm actually going to say pole position Lando Norris. I do believe this is a track where he can get on pole. He's shown time and time again this is a track that he just does very well on. A driving style is suited towards it, and he feels good in the car. It's a very lively track because even with the amount of downforce, a lot of slipping, oversteer drivers typically do better here in Mexico. With that said, Carlos was phenomenal, so maybe that necessarily doesn't have to do with anything, but as of recent years, other than Carlos, typically the oversteer drivers like this track. It's also a hint back to Ricardo, who was amazing here for so many years. He definitely strived under those conditions. Now looking at biggest loser. Now last time I randomly picked and it was Carlos Sainz. So maybe I got the magic touch. Should we go for it again? Let's do it. Not looking, I'm just going to click on it right here. All right, not looking. Even though I kind of know the layouts, I could see Nico Hülkenberg being a biggest loser. I'm okay with that. We'll make this a random pick as long as it's going well. It went well. I've actually gotten it twice in a row now. I've gotten Nico, Carlos Sainz with Singapore and COTA. But now, let's see if it's going to be Nico again. He had a pretty decent weekend. And his qualifying hasn't been so hot, so I'm not sure if I love this pick. Biggest gainer, this is tough. I have a very tough time picking this because I feel like wherever people are going to qualify, it's going to be very hard to make up any positions. Alpine's going to be towards the bottom. I know that for a fact. I can see Alex Albon. Ooh, again? He's been pretty bad in qualifying. You know what? My mind went to Alex. I'm going to stick with Alex Albon as being the biggest gainer for the race and fastest lap. I can see Max Verstappen getting it. For some reason, Kimi Antonelli loves to steal this point here on the Unchained Race Week. Maybe we'll see it again. I could see Kimi making up some places, but fastest lap, Max Verstappen. And now for the constructors, P1 to P3, I've actually been lacking in this department as of lately, which is quite shocking. But okay, fastest pit stop, last time it was Racing Bulls. Steak has been decent in the year. Ferrari's been decent in the year. Red Bull's been decent in the year. I'm going to give it to Red Bull. I believe they can get it. I have yet to get a single point on fastest pit stop. I'm not sure what's going on there. You know what? I'm actually going back. Typically, I don't do this. Ferrari. I'm feeling a Ferrari fastest pit stop. It'll be the only thing that's fastest here. Now looking at the constructors, based off predictions, I do predict that Max is going to be P1, and then McLaren with P2 and P4 will be enough points to go just ahead of him. That is where I'm going to put McLaren. I'm going to put him at P1 for the constructors, Red Bull in P2. I think we're not going to see any points from Yuki Tsunoda. This is going to be a difficult weekend, but let's see if that's the case. And just because if we go off of points, it'd be still the same for Ferrari and Red Bull, but with them winning the race, that will be the second constructors. So third constructors, it is Ferrari. Went pretty safe on these predictions. Make sure you guys drop yours down below. Love to see what you guys do for this weekend. It's going to be pretty unpredictable. But that's going to do it for the Mexico GP preview and my predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys go drop yours on Unchained Media Inc. It means the world having your guys' support. Please leave a like, subscribe. It'd mean the world. And peace.